I'd like to introduce a short drawing activity designed to explore the idea that there are times when you feel more or less visible to others, and there are times when you feel stronger and would like to come to the forefront, and equally times when you feel you would rather be more in the background. We're going to add to our drawings and we're going to take away, but you won't need many materials to be able to take part. If you have a piece of paper and an ordinary pencil, and in addition to that, a sharpener and an eraser, you will be good to go and we will be able to get started. Now, to begin with your pencil, I would like you to make a mark, or perhaps write something. You might write your name, or you might put an initial down on your paper. You might draw a small symbol, or do a tiny sketch on your paper. But what you're doing is making some marks on your paper, and they are quite clear to see. You can choose to add pieces to your initial drawing, and you can embellish what you've done by allowing some lines to grow out of your initial drawing. It's very quick to do, and once that's done, you're going to introduce the sharpener and use that to sharpen your pencil and to let the shavings and the small pieces of graphite that come off with it fall onto the paper, really on top of your drawing. You're doing a bit of sharpening and letting the pieces fall down on top of your lines. Once that's done, you can start to rub over the top of the small pieces and shavings that are there. Make soft marks this time. They will begin to cover up some of your first lines. Quite a nice feeling actually to move pieces of graphite across your paper and see how they start to smudge, how they start to make their own marks, and how they begin to obscure your first drawing. Depending on what pencil you used, depending on how hard you pressed, depending on how hard you're perhaps rubbing at the moment, these lines will disappear to a greater or lesser extent. And don't worry about that, because there's no right or wrong way to do this. You can blend things in slowly and be quite mindful about it. You can be aware of how it feels and what the texture is like under your finger. And what we've done now is we have made our first drawing fade away. You'll also have given yourself a nice black finger as well, but that will all wash off. If we take a razor now, what you can start to do is, instead of using it always as something where you're getting rid of mistakes, if you use it actually as a drawing tool, this can be a nice way of making some new marks. And you can decide if you want perhaps to follow your very first drawing and reveal some of it again. You can decide to do that. Or you can make some new marks as well if you would prefer to branch out and make some new lines. What we're doing is we're removing some of the smudges. And in some ways, we could be making shapes reappear and become bold again. Or in other ways, you could see it as we're removing them completely. And just enjoy using the eraser in a different way, as if you were drawing and mark making with it. And what you have now is probably a combination of some soft grey, some pieces that are going back to the original colour of the background paper, and still maybe one or two lines from your very first drawing. This brings me back to the pencil again, finally, because it's up to you. At this point, we could begin to reinstate lines and make them bolder again, make them stand out, make them come forward, pop them back into our drawing if we choose to. But we might not. You might want to leave some parts of your drawing that are faded, some parts that have completely changed since the beginning. And all of that is fine. Just to take the time to have a think, to decide what you want to reveal, what you want to obscure, what you might want to take away, and what you might want to add to your picture. This is something that you could do at any time. It doesn't involve gathering lots of materials, and you don't need a lot of space to do it. It's just a really nice way, perhaps, to take a little bit of time to sit with your thoughts and to make some marks at the same time. And I hope you enjoy doing it.